welcome to another episode of Morbid Vision. Uh, Tonight I thought I'd do one on just werewolf movies. Definitely one of my favorite creatures. This was actually pretty difficult because once you actually look into it and try to decide what are your five favorite, there's not a lot of good werewolf films, unfortunately. So yeah, this was actually kind of tough. And actually my number five is a little, it was difficult I was trying to decide between three different movies. But I went with this one, and it's not even kind of technically a werewolf film. But it's marketed as a werewolf movie, so hell with it. That's my choice. Brotherhood of the Wolf. Very cool French movie. I saw this in the theaters when it came out, and I'm so glad I did. In the theaters, this movie was amazing. Very, very well made movie. A lot of great martial art sequences in this film. It's basically based on a true event that happened long time ago. I don't remember when. I didn't do research, but definitely a cool movie. But it's not quite a werewolf movie, but it has to do with wolves. So, but anyways, check this movie out if you haven't. Great film. It's very, very well made. So, number 5, Brotherhood of the Wolf. Alright, number 4, go for a classic. Again, very difficult to choose from these outside of my top 3, but I decided this should definitely be the 4th one. The Wolfman, the classic Universal monster movie. Took me a long time before I even watched this movie. I'll admit, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, how dare you, whatever. I was never a fan of the Universal monster movies when I was younger. Why? Because I grew up on Godzilla movies. I grew up on giant Japanese monsters. So to me, monsters meant kaiju. Couldn't help it. That's how I was raised. So I never really got into these films. But then finally, one time, I was helping clean out someone's house, and my uncle just came up to me and he gave me a VHS box set of all the Universal monster movies. I was like, oh, that's cool. All right, cool. And then I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm actually going to watch these. Yeah, so I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to watch all these movies. I'm going to, each night or maybe every weekend, I'm going to choose a movie, and that will be my movie for the night. And then I finally watched The Wolfman. Something I was never in. The problem I had was I just don't like this makeup. I've never been a fan of this kind of werewolf makeup. It's just, I don't know, it's a guy with a fuzzy face. That's why I just couldn't get into it. But once I watched the movie, the look of the movie is incredible. The sets are amazing in this movie. And the set they have of the woods that, takes place in a lot of the movie, absolutely phenomenal. Oh, the fogged out sets are just incredible. I would love to have seen what that set looked like in real life. But yeah, that's what won me over. So then I got into it. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a great movie. I've watched it over and over again since, and it's definitely grown on me. The makeup's grown on me. I've learned to accept it and take it for what it is. And yeah, so I would say this is my 4th favorite, in 4th place for werewolf films. Mainly because of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is unbelievable in this movie. So, The Wolfman. Alright, number 3. People, I'm sure there's going to be some purists that can be like, how can this be number 3? Hey, it's number 3 for me. American Werewolf in London. Awesome movie. Classic. An absolute classic. Great film. Rick Baker's effects in this movie are just so damn good. Obviously, he won an Oscar for it and everything. But the opening of this film is like one of the perfect horror movie openings. I just love it. The entire sequence of them going to the slaughtered lamb and then being circled by the wolf that's just pure horror. It's just excellent. So well done. But yeah, 3rd place for me. Now, 2nd place, the newest movie of them all. Saw this on TV. It premiered on TV, surprisingly, here in America. And 20 minutes into this movie, I'm like, whoa, this is a damn good movie. I am loving this film. Dog Soldiers. Neil Marshall's debut movie. Oh, it's like a masterpiece to me. It's my favorite movie of the 2000s so far. It's just the pacing of it, the atmosphere, the acting. All the actors are excellent. Sean Pertwee became probably my favorite actor because of this movie. The camaraderie of all the soldiers in this film is just so natural, and it sucks you in. It sucks you in before any werewolf stuff starts happening. But though, of course, the best part is the werewolves in a movie within the 2000s, all practical, and they look damn good. Bob Keane, from known for doing the effects for Hellraiser, was the chief makeup artist in this, I believe. Just so cool. Done like the werewolves in The Howling. Bipedal, tall, on stilts, long snouts, everything. Such a great movie. And it's got some really nice gore in this movie too, surprisingly. Great action, really cool action scenes. But just everything about this movie just works. It's such a cool movie. I have 3 different versions of this. I got the American version, then I bought the British DVD, and I have the Shout Factory Blu-ray, which the Blu-ray looks like garbage. I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they approved that scan or whatever. But this DVD, and the British one, if you get the British one, but in America, DVD is so much better than the Blu-ray. Buy the Blu-ray for all the extras. The extras are awesome. Scan on the Blu-ray suck. But so my number 2 werewolf movie, Dog Soldiers, my favorite movie of the 2000s. Love this movie. And number 1 for me. Number 1 for a lot of people. For when it comes to werewolves, The Howling. Love this movie. Everything about this movie is just about perfect. It falls in my top 3 movies of all time. It's actually this is the first full rated R movie I saw as a kid. My cousin had bought it. He actually had the Betamax. He bought that, and he bought Betamax when everyone else bought VHS. And he had that, and he showed it to me. He's like, "Oh, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this." I'm like, "All right, we'll watch it." Loved it. And this is the movie that made me obsessed with horror films. I didn't really get into horror films until I was like 12 or 13 years old. And this is the one that sucked me in. Just, the atmosphere is just amazing in this movie. The location, the colony where it takes place, out in the woods and the cabins and everything, just perfect location for a horror film. And Rob Bottin's Werewolves. Yes, Rick Baker's effects are incredible, but Rob Bottin's Werewolves, in my opinion, are the scariest, most amazing looking werewolves ever put on film. I mean, these things are just so badass looking. They're frightening looking, and the transformation scene is incredible, obviously. So yeah, The Howling is just one of the most perfect horror films in my opinion. And it's my favorite werewolf movie. Now, what made this so difficult is, obviously it was no contest, The Howling, Dog Soldiers, and American Werewolf in London. But when it came to like Brotherhood of the Wolf, I was just like, I was sitting there going crazy. None of the sequels for this movie are any good. I mean, all the sequels to The Howling are barely watchable. They're all bad. It's like, how does such a great horror film just no one, obviously because Joe Dante had nothing to do with any of the sequels, which someone should have really paid him a lot of money and said, come on, just at least help out with one of these. But yeah, the sequels are garbage to this, so I couldn't even pick a sequel to The Howling. One that I thought of, Bad Moon. I just watched it again recently. Werewolf in that movie is awesome. I love the werewolf in Bad Moon. But that movie is a little slow, and I think Mariel Hemingway, is the lead actress, and she's a little annoying in the movie. No, nothing personal against her, but the way they had her act in that movie kind of brings the movie down a little bit. So I just couldn't really, and I don't own it. I've been meaning to buy it, but I don't own it. So I was like, oh yeah, Bad Moon. I'm sorry, I don't have it. But I was like, Brotherhood of the Wolf is somewhat marketed as a wolf. It's marketed as a wolf movie, at least. So I was like, it's a much better movie. This is obviously better than any of the Howling sequels, and it was tough. I was thinking of Bad Mood. I thought of Silver Bullet, but the werewolves in that movie aren't very good. The effects are kind of... It's a fun movie. It's a very entertaining movie. But yeah, the werewolves just aren't the greatest in that movie, so I couldn't put that one up there. Another werewolf movie with a great sequence... it's not a werewolf movie, but has a great werewolf sequence, is the movie Waxwork. The werewolf looks great. Very cool, the way it's articulated and everything. But it's not a werewolf movie. It's Waxwork. It just happens to be a sequence. So obviously I can't choose that one. But so yeah, these are my top 5 picks, I guess. This was just very difficult. These three, the top 3, no contest. Brotherhood of Wolf, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Wolfman, obviously classic, so, and just atmosphere is just amazing in this movie. I know I go on and on about atmosphere, but atmosphere to me is what makes horror. Horror is creepy woods and just a location that you would think twice about walking through. That's horror to me. And of course, the almighty American Werewolf in London, the new classic Dog Soldiers, and The King, The Howling. So, I'm sure a lot of you are going to disagree with me. Oh, well, actually, one thing I will state is the main reason why all these 5 are in here is they're all practical effects. I'm sorry, but any werewolf movie with a CGI werewolf is garbage. In my opinion, I hate CGI, I can't help it. But when it comes to CGI creatures that can be done practically, I mean, you see some of these movies and it's like, oh geez, the movie just turned into a cartoon. Okay. It's just absolutely horrible. I just don't get why you would make a werewolf movie and then do CGI. It's just sad. I hope someday to be able to make a werewolf movie. I have always wanted to make a werewolf movie. The reason why I haven't is I only want to do it if I can kind of come close to the werewolves of the Howling. And that is going to be so difficult. Yeah. Hopefully someday I'll try it before I get too old and I decide I don't want to do this anymore, I'm too tired or whatever. But yeah, I would love to do a werewolf movie. So, I hope you enjoyed this discussion on werewolves. So if you like it, please like the video and subscribe to Morbid Vision Films if you haven't already. And I will be back soon. Bye.